She thought she was just an unfortunate woman, a forgotten soul confined to a wheelchair. Every morning, Emma watched as the world hurried past the old woman, ignoring her pleas, dismissing her presence. Little did Emma know that meeting this woman would change her life forever. Who was this woman, really? What secrets was she hiding? Sit back and find out as we delve into this astonishing and heartfelt story. This is the story of Emma, a kind-hearted girl from Port Harcourt, Nigeria, and an elderly woman whom the entire neighborhood had seemingly forgotten. Emma was only 25 years old, bright-eyed, always cheerful despite the hardship she faced daily. Her small kiosk, where she sold snacks and drinks, stood on a busy corner, shaded slightly by a mango tree whose leaves offered only a brief reprieve from the scorching sun. Emma did not have much. Her dresses were faded, her sandals worn thin from constant use. But every day, she greeted her customers with genuine warmth. "Good morning, Ma," she'd say softly. "You're welcome, sir," always accompanied by a radiant smile that never faded, even when business was slow. She woke early every morning to prepare her shop. Her hands swiftly arranged biscuits, sweets, and bottled drinks on her small wooden table. But behind her cheerful facade lay the quiet sadness of a difficult life. Emma had no living relatives. Her parents had passed away years ago, leaving her to fend for herself in a modest, rented room in the busy outskirts of Port Harcourt. She had no electricity, barely enough water, yet she lived each day with hopeful resilience. One hot afternoon, as Emma was rearranging her goods, her neighbor, Mrs. Benson, paused to talk. "Emma, Mrs." Benson said with a puzzled look, "how do you manage to smile every day when life is so tough for all of us here?" Emma's smile widened, her eyes twinkling softly. "Because frowning will not change my life," she replied gently. "Mrs." Benson chuckled softly and moved along, leaving her words lingering in Emma's heart. Indeed, she had so little. Yet, she always managed to share whatever she could with those who had even less. Every afternoon, a peculiar sight greeted Emma's eyes. An elderly woman in a wheelchair slowly made her way down the street. The wheels of her chair squeaked rhythmically, each rotation an effort that showed clearly in her tired eyes. People passing by averted their gazes or whispered harshly, "Look at this poor woman," one man sneered. Another woman frowned and shook her head. "She should stay at home," she muttered. But Emma never looked away. To her, the woman was always Mama Rose. This particular afternoon, the sun blazed fiercely overhead. Mama Rose appeared at her usual time, her wheelchair laboriously moving down the dusty street. Her clothes were tattered, and her thin hands were bruised from pushing the chair's wheels day after day. Her eyes held a quiet dignity, even as the neighborhood mocked her. Emma watched as Mama Rose came to a stop near her kiosk, clearly exhausted. Emma quickly grabbed a chilled bottle of water and walked over. "Good afternoon, Mama Rose," she greeted softly, kneeling beside the woman. "You look tired today." Mama Rose lifted her head slowly, meeting Emma's eyes. Her voice was faint, almost a whisper. "I haven't eaten since yesterday," she confessed, looking down ashamedly. Emma glanced back at her kiosk. The meager earnings she had made for the day laid neatly under a tray. That money was meant to buy her own meal for the evening. She hesitated only for a second. Without another word, she handed Mama Rose the money. "Take this and buy something to eat, Mama," she urged gently. Mama Rose's eyes widened in surprise. "You're giving me your last earnings?" she asked quietly. Emma nodded warmly. "I can make more tomorrow." The old woman's eyes grew moist. She didn't say another word, merely pressing the money into her chest. Around them, passers-by stared curiously. "Emma," someone called out. Why waste your money on this beggar? Emma smiled softly, responding with unwavering kindness. If I were in her position, wouldn't I hope someone would help me too? Mama Rose never begged openly. She sat silently in her wheelchair each afternoon, never asking for money or food. Yet Emma always knew when she needed help, always ready with a smile, a bottle of water, or a small snack. Neither of them realized then how dramatically their lives were about to change. But on that sweltering day, Emma's simple act of kindness had unknowingly set the stage for events she could never have imagined. Days turned into weeks, and Emma's life fell into a comfortable rhythm. Each morning she opened her kiosk, arranging her goods with meticulous care. Business was never booming, but it was steady enough to pay her rent and buy the little food she needed. Yet, despite the repetitive nature of her days, one thing stood out distinctly: Mama Rose. Her daily visits had become something Emma anticipated, a comforting constant amidst life's uncertainties. Mama Rose, with her gentle dignity, arrived each afternoon. Emma always prepared something for her: a small snack, some fresh fruits, or occasionally a chilled drink. Though the elderly woman rarely spoke much, a silent understanding had blossomed between them. To Emma, Mama Rose represented not just a person in need, but a symbol of quiet strength, someone who persevered despite her circumstances. One particularly busy afternoon, as the sun blazed mercilessly above Port Harcourt, Emma found herself swamped by customers. School children lined up, jostling for sweets and biscuits. Office workers grabbed quick snacks as they rushed past. In the midst of serving a customer, Emma glanced toward Mama Rose's usual spot. Her heart skipped slightly when she saw the old woman wasn't there. After the rush died down, Emma walked to the roadside, peering anxiously along the street. Where could Mama Rose be? She wondered aloud, her brows furrowed with concern. As she stood lost in thought, Mrs. Benson walked by, noticing Emma's worried expression. "What's wrong, Emma?" Mrs. Benson asked gently, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Mama Rose hasn't come today," Emma replied, her voice low and heavy with concern. "She's never missed a day." Mrs. Benson shrugged casually, brushing away the thought. "Maybe she's resting today. You worry too much, Emma." Emma wasn't convinced. Throughout the afternoon, her eyes kept drifting toward the empty spot, her mind unable to focus fully on her tasks. Her worry deepened as evening approached, and still, there was no sign of Mama Rose. As dusk settled, Emma packed her goods slowly, her heart heavy. "Mama Rose, please be safe," she whispered softly, locking up her kiosk and heading back to her modest room. The next day dawned bright and clear, but Emma woke with an unsettled feeling. Hastily, she prepared for the day, her anxiety growing as she thought about Mama Rose. She opened her kiosk earlier than usual, hoping to see the familiar figure roll into view. The morning passed slowly, each hour feeling like an eternity. Customers came and went, but Emma's eyes never stopped searching for the elderly woman. By midday, her concern turned to genuine fear. Unable to remain idle, she began asking around the neighborhood. "Excuse me, sir," Emma said politely to the man who sold newspapers nearby. "Have you seen Mama Rose?" The man looked up from his papers, shaking his head indifferently. "No, maybe she's tired of begging." Emma's heart sank, but she persisted. She approached the woman who sold fruits across the street. "Ma, have you seen Mama Rose? She hasn't come since yesterday." The fruit seller frowned thoughtfully. "Now that you mention it, I haven't seen her. Maybe she's ill." Emma nodded slowly, trying to hide the fear in her eyes. The day wore on with no sign of Mama Rose. Emma's heart felt heavy. Worry gnawed at her constantly. She could barely concentrate, her smiles forced, her mind elsewhere. As darkness fell, Emma found herself pacing restlessly. Unable to bear the uncertainty any longer, she made a decision. Grabbing a small torch, she locked her kiosk and walked toward the street where she assumed Mama Rose might live. It was a part of the neighborhood she rarely visited, quieter, dimly lit, with houses spaced far apart. Emma's steps echoed softly as she navigated the unfamiliar street, her heartbeat quickening with each shadow. She stopped occasionally, peering into alleys, hoping desperately to spot the elderly woman. Finally, she reached a modest building, partially hidden behind a tall fence. Its appearance was inconspicuous, except for the faint glow of a light in one window. Summoning her courage, Emma knocked softly on the wooden gate. Moments later, footsteps approached slowly, hesitantly. The gate creaked open, revealing a young woman, her eyes curious yet cautious. "Can I help you?" the young woman asked softly. Emma hesitated briefly before answering, her voice trembling slightly. "I'm looking for Mama Rose. Have you seen her?" The young woman studied Emma closely, her expression unreadable. After a brief silence, she opened the gate wider. "Come inside," she whispered, stepping back. Emma hesitated only briefly before stepping forward, her heart pounding. Whatever awaited her behind the gate, she knew she had no choice but to face it. Her bond with Mama Rose was stronger than her fears. Emma stepped hesitantly into the dimly lit compound, the air thick with anticipation. Her eyes quickly adjusted to the faint light, revealing a modest yet tidy courtyard. The young woman closed the gate quietly behind her, casting a final wary glance outside. "Please, follow me," the woman whispered softly, leading Emma toward a small house nestled in the corner of the yard. Emma's pulse quickened, her heart drumming loudly in her chest. Questions flooded her mind. Was Mama Rose all right? What had happened? Why was there so much secrecy? They reached a wooden door at the back of the courtyard. The young woman paused briefly, meeting Emma's gaze with serious eyes. "Mama Rose hasn't been well," she explained gently. "She asked me not to trouble anyone, but perhaps seeing you might help her." Emma's heart squeezed tightly in her chest. She nodded wordlessly, unable to trust her voice. The young woman opened the door slowly, revealing a small, neat room lit by a single oil lamp. The air inside was cool, tinged with the faint scent of eucalyptus. There, resting quietly on a small bed, lay Mama Rose. The elderly woman appeared frail, her breathing shallow yet steady. Her eyes were closed, her face relaxed in peaceful sleep. Emma felt a wave of relief mixed with sadness. She knelt beside the bed quietly, gently taking Mama Rose's hand into her own. The touch was soft, fragile, but comforting. "Mama Rose," Emma whispered softly, her voice barely audible. "I'm here." Slowly, Mama Rose's eyes fluttered open, recognition dawning softly in their depths. A gentle smile tugged at the corners of her mouth as she focused on Emma's concerned face. "Emma," she whispered weakly, squeezing her hand softly. "You came." "Of course, Mama," Emma replied gently, fighting back tears. "I was worried. You didn't come to the kiosk. I had to find you." Mama Rose's eyes glistened with gratitude. "Thank you, child," she murmured softly, her voice hoarse but filled with warmth. "You've been kinder to me than anyone else." Emma shook her head gently. "It's nothing. You're like family to me." The elderly woman sighed softly, turning her head slightly towards the young woman who stood quietly by the door. "This is Sarah, my caretaker," Mama Rose explained softly. "She's been helping me in secret, trying not to trouble anyone." Sarah stepped closer, offering Emma a small, comforting smile. Mama Rose didn't want others to know her struggles, Sarah explained gently. She feared being a burden. Emma's heart ached deeply. "You're not a burden, Mama Rose," she said firmly, her voice trembling slightly. "Never think that." A gentle silence filled the room, punctuated only by the soft hiss of the oil lamp. Mama Rose gazed quietly at Emma, her eyes reflecting deep gratitude. "You're special, Emma," she said quietly. "Not many would show such kindness." Emma squeezed Mama Rose's hand reassuringly, offering a tender smile. "Rest now, Mama Rose. I'll come back every day until you're better." The elderly woman nodded gently, her eyelids growing heavy once more. Emma watched silently as Mama Rose drifted back into a peaceful sleep, her breathing becoming steady again. Slowly, she rose, turning towards Sarah. "Thank you for taking care of her," Emma whispered sincerely. Sarah nodded, her eyes gentle and warm. "It's the least I can do," Sarah replied softly, walking Emma back towards the courtyard gate. "She has nobody else." Emma's chest tightened again at Sarah's words. She paused briefly, turning to face the caretaker earnestly. "Please, let me know immediately if anything happens." Sarah nodded solemnly. "I promise." Emma stepped back into the quiet night, her heart heavy yet strangely at peace. Walking home beneath the star-speckled sky, she felt deeply connected to Mama Rose, a bond strengthened by shared moments of vulnerability and genuine care. That night, Emma lay awake for a long time, thoughts swirling in her mind. Something about Mama Rose's situation bothered her deeply. Why had the old woman been so secretive about her condition? And why was Sarah taking care of her quietly, as if there were something more significant behind the elderly woman's humble facade? Sleep eventually claimed Emma, but her dreams were restless, filled with vague impressions of secrets yet unrevealed. Little did she know, her instincts were right. Her world was about to change in ways she had never imagined. Days drifted by, each one pulling Emma closer to Mama Rose. She visited every afternoon, bringing small gifts like fresh fruit or homemade soup. Mama Rose's health improved gradually, yet something about her still seemed mysterious, hidden behind the tender smiles and gentle words she offered Emma. One afternoon, as Emma was tidying her kiosk, a sleek black SUV pulled up abruptly, catching everyone's attention. From the vehicle emerged a tall, distinguished-looking man in an impeccably tailored suit. His presence immediately sparked whispers and curious glances from onlookers. Emma watched in confusion as the man approached her kiosk directly, his gaze firm and confident. "Good afternoon," he greeted warmly, his voice deep and smooth. "Are you Emma?" "Yes," Emma replied cautiously, straightening her posture. "How can I help you, sir?" The man offered a polite smile. "My name is Mr. Elliot. I've come to discuss something important with you. Privately, if possible." Emma hesitated briefly, glancing around at the curious crowd. "Of course," she finally agreed, stepping aside. "Please, follow me." She led him to a quieter spot beneath the mango tree. Mr. Elliot glanced around briefly before speaking, his expression serious. "Emma, I'm here on behalf of someone who greatly admires your kindness. They have observed your generosity, especially towards Mama Rose." Emma's eyes widened in surprise. "Mama Rose?" Mr. Elliot nodded solemnly. "Indeed. Mama Rose is someone of great significance. Her situation is complicated, far more than it seems." Emma felt her curiosity intensify. "What do you mean? Is Mama Rose all right?" Mr. Elliot smiled reassuringly. "She's safe and recovering, thanks to your care. However, there are things about her that remain hidden for reasons I cannot fully explain yet. Mama Rose wishes to speak with you personally." Emma felt her heart race. "When does she want to see me?" "Today, if possible. Mr. Elliot replied. "There's a vehicle waiting to take you to her. It's urgent." Emma paused only for a second. Her concern for Mama Rose outweighed her hesitation. "All right, I'll come with you." Minutes later, Emma sat quietly in the luxurious SUV as it navigated smoothly through the bustling streets of Port Harcourt. She gazed out the tinted window, her mind racing with questions. Why was Mr. Elliot so secretive? What was Mama Rose's true story? The car eventually turned onto a quiet street, lined with high fences and elegant buildings, each reflecting wealth and exclusivity. Emma watched with astonishment as they approached a grand, beautiful mansion, its towering gates sliding open silently at their approach. Inside the mansion's expansive compound, Emma felt small amidst the grandeur. Mr. Elliot guided her to the main entrance, where large wooden doors swung open to reveal a beautifully furnished hall, elegant and tastefully decorated. "Please, wait here," Mr. Elliot instructed softly before disappearing down a hallway. Emma stood alone, her heart pounding. Moments later, footsteps echoed softly as Mama Rose appeared, elegantly dressed in a flowing gown, looking healthy and composed. Emma's jaw dropped slightly. Gone was the frail woman she had known. Instead stood someone entirely transformed. "Mama Rose?" Emma asked hesitantly, confusion evident in her voice. The elderly woman smiled warmly, reaching out to take Emma's hands gently. "Yes, Emma, it's me." Emma stared at her in disbelief, struggling to process the drastic change. "I don't understand," she whispered softly. Mama Rose guided her to a comfortable sofa, sitting beside her with a serene expression. "Emma, there's something important I must tell you. My real name is Rosalind Harper. I've been living undercover for a reason." "Undercover?" Emma repeated, feeling bewildered. Rosalind nodded slowly, her eyes sincere. "Yes, I'm involved in the oil and gas industry here in Port Harcourt. I needed to understand people's true nature, beyond their awareness of my wealth. That's why I disguised myself as Mama Rose." Emma stared silently, her mind spinning. "But why did you choose me?" "Because of your kindness," Rosalind replied softly, her voice filled with genuine appreciation. "I watched how you treated me when everyone else turned away. You offered kindness without expectation or reward. Emma, people like you are rare." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't know who you were. I only did what I felt was right." Rosalind smiled warmly. "Exactly. That genuine goodness is why I trust you. Now, there is something very important I need your help with. Will you hear me out?" Emma nodded without hesitation, her voice firm. "Anything, Mama Rosalind." Rosalind squeezed Emma's hand gently. "Then listen carefully, because what I am about to ask will change your life forever." Emma's heart raced, anticipation gripping her tightly as Rosalind leaned forward slightly, her expression serious yet gentle. "Emma?" Rosalind began. "I built my life around the oil and gas industry, navigating a world of wealth, power, and often deceit. But now, I find myself reflecting on the true meaning of legacy." Emma listened intently, feeling the weight of Rosalind's words. The grandeur around them seemed insignificant compared to the sincerity in Rosalind's eyes. "I never married nor had children," Rosalind continued softly. "And as I grow older, I've realized the importance of entrusting my life's work to someone with genuine compassion and integrity." Emma's eyes widened as the gravity of Rosalind's words dawned upon her. "You don't mean—" Rosalind smiled warmly, nodding slowly. "Yes, Emma. I've observed you closely. Your heart, your compassion, your unwavering kindness toward a stranger like me, these qualities assure me you're the right person." Emma shook her head slightly, feeling overwhelmed. Rosalind, I don't have experience. I'm just a simple shopkeeper. Rosalind gently placed her hand on Emma's shoulder, her touch reassuring. Emma, experience can be learned. Integrity and kindness cannot. I've arranged for you to be trained by experts, people who will help you understand the industry thoroughly. Emma sat quietly, absorbing Rosalind's words. Why would you do this for me? She finally whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. Because kindness deserves to be rewarded, Rosalind replied gently. You helped me without expectation. Now, I wish to help you fulfill dreams you never dared to dream. Emma swallowed hard, a myriad of emotions swirling inside her. Gratitude, disbelief, fear, excitement, all mingled within her heart. Rosalind sensed her hesitation, offering another reassuring smile. Emma, you won't face this alone. Rosalind continued softly. Mr. Elliot, whom you've already met, will guide you through everything. He has been my trusted confidant for years, and he will be yours as well. Emma nodded slowly, finally finding her voice. This is so much more than I ever imagined. Rosalind squeezed her hand gently. Life has a way of surprising us, Emma. Embrace this new chapter. I have complete faith in you. In the weeks that followed, Emma's life transformed completely. Under Mr. Elliot's guidance, she underwent rigorous training, learning about the complexities of the oil and gas sector. Initially overwhelmed, she soon discovered strengths within herself she never knew existed. Rosalind watched proudly from afar, her confidence in Emma unwavering. Emma adapted swiftly, impressing even seasoned professionals with her determination and genuine desire to understand the industry thoroughly. She handled every challenge with humility and grace, her innate kindness shining brightly, earning the respect of everyone around her. One evening, as the sun painted Port Harcourt in shades of gold and crimson, Rosalind visited Emma at her new office, a spacious room overlooking the bustling city. Emma turned from her desk, a warm smile lighting her face. Rosalind, she greeted fondly, embracing the older woman warmly. I'm so happy to see you. And you, Rosalind replied gently, taking a seat. How are you settling in? Emma exhaled softly, her smile radiant. It's challenging but rewarding. I still can't believe this is my life now. Rosalind nodded, satisfaction in her eyes. You've earned every bit of it. Remember, Emma, your success is not just about wealth or status. It's about what you do with it, how you help others. Emma nodded thoughtfully. I understand now. The power to change lives, to lift others. It's a responsibility I take seriously. Rosalind smiled warmly, her eyes misty. You're ready, Emma. I knew from the moment I met you. Your heart was special. Now, it's your turn to make a difference in the world. Emma squeezed Rosalind's hand, deeply moved. Thank you, Rosalind. I'll never forget what you've done for me. Rosalind stood slowly, her gaze tender yet firm. Just promise me one thing, Emma. Never lose your kindness. Let it guide you always. Emma smiled warmly, determination in her eyes. I promise. Months later, Emma established a foundation dedicated to supporting struggling individuals throughout Port Harcourt. Named Rosalind's Hope, it provided education, medical care, and financial support to those in need. Emma often visited the neighborhoods personally, offering encouragement and tangible assistance, always remembering the day she chose to help a seemingly helpless elderly woman. Rosalind watched proudly from the sidelines, content knowing her legacy was safe in Emma's compassionate hands. Emma's journey had come full circle, proving that kindness given freely and sincerely truly had the power to change lives in ways unimaginable.